Hello, Eagles fans! I'm incredibly proud to come here and say that Howie Roseman is the most prepared general manager in the NFL. Man, I'm not just saying this to flatter him, but this guy is seriously smart. While other franchises keep panicking about the salary cap, future contracts, and financial flexibility, the Eagles seem to be operating with a completely different level of confidence. And now, after another major development involving the NFL itself, that confidence makes even more sense. I'm about to tell you everything I found out today, and you're gonna love it too. But before we continue, make sure you smash that like button, but only if you trust Howie Roseman's work. And if possible, comment this: "In Howie I trust him too." And man, the Eagles may have just gained another huge advantage without even making a single move this week. One of the biggest discussions surrounding the Philadelphia Eagles in recent years has been the way Howie Roseman manages contracts and manipulates the salary cap. Every offseason, people around the NFL say the exact same thing. They claim the Eagles will eventually have to pay the price. They say there are too many years without contracts, too many backloaded deals, and too much money pushed into the future. And somehow, every single year, the Eagles keep finding ways to stay aggressive while still maintaining one of the strongest rosters in football. That strategy has confused people for a long time. But now we may be seeing exactly why the Eagles have been so comfortable operating this way. The organization clearly understands where the NFL business is heading before many others do. Philadelphia has consistently used void years to create more cap flexibility in the present. Instead of trying to preserve every dollar years down the road, the Eagles continue attacking opportunities aggressively right now. That approach only works if you believe future salary caps are going to explode. And based on everything happening around the NFL, that appears to be exactly what the Eagles have been anticipating all along. Currently, the Eagles sit in a fairly solid position financially over the next few seasons. In 2026, they reportedly have around $24.8 million in cap space, ranking 11th in the NFL. In 2027, that number sits around $14.8 million, and by 2028, projections currently show around $1 million available. But the important part here is not the exact number. The important part is the philosophy behind it. Philadelphia clearly believes the salary cap itself is about to rise dramatically over the coming years, meaning those future financial obligations will not hit nearly as hard as many critics expect. And honestly, there's growing evidence supporting that idea. One of the major reasons revolves around television ratings and streaming data. The NFL continues becoming more valuable every single season, but now there's another major shift happening behind the scenes. Television measurement systems are evolving, especially with streaming platforms and smart TVs becoming a much larger part of how fans consume football games. That matters because the more accurately the league can prove how massive its audience really is, the more valuable future broadcast rights become. And once those broadcast deals increase, the salary cap rises again. The NFL already dominates American sports financially, but the next wave of media negotiations could take things to another level entirely. Especially when you consider how younger audiences now watch games through streaming services rather than traditional television methods. This is exactly why the Eagles have continued operating aggressively. They are not behaving like a franchise worried about future limitations. They are behaving like a franchise expecting the league's revenue structure to become significantly larger over the next several years. And honestly, another recent NFL decision may reinforce that even more. The league recently removed protections that previously allowed teams to lock in specific home games from being moved internationally. That means the NFL now has even more freedom to place marquee matchups overseas whenever it wants. That might sound small on the surface, but financially, it could become enormous. International expansion is clearly becoming one of the NFL's biggest priorities. More international games means more streaming opportunities, larger media packages, and even more global revenue. Huge rivalry games and premium matchups overseas suddenly become incredibly valuable properties for streaming partners and international audiences. Again, what happens when league revenue increases? The salary cap increases too, and suddenly the Eagles' entire financial strategy looks a whole lot smarter. This is not random. This feels calculated. Philadelphia appears to understand where the league is going before many other teams fully adjust. That level of foresight matters because roster building in today's NFL is no longer just about scouting talent. It's also about understanding business trends, league growth, and future economics better than your competition. And right now, the Eagles seem extremely confident in their vision. But while all of that is happening behind the scenes financially, there's another major storyline developing on the field that Eagles fans should be paying close attention to. One player is quietly emerging as one of the most fascinating pieces on this roster, and somehow, despite what he accomplished recently, a lot of fans around the league still are not talking about him enough. That player is Jix Hunt. When discussing the Eagles' defense, people naturally focus on the biggest names. That's normal. But what Hunt accomplished recently deserves much more attention than it's getting right now. According to the discussion surrounding the team, Hunt led the Eagles in sacks during 2025 with 6.5, while also leading the team in interceptions. Think about how unusual that is. An edge rusher leading a team in interceptions is already rare enough by itself. But when you combine that with his pass rushing production, it paints the picture of an incredibly unique defensive weapon. And his background makes the story even more interesting. Hunt originally played safety during the beginning of his college career before eventually transitioning into an edge rusher later on. That defensive back experience appears to have completely shaped the way he sees the field now. His instincts in coverage, awareness, and ability to read plays create a very different style of edge defender compared to many traditional pass rushers. You can see why the Eagles value that versatility so much. His athletic profile continues standing out as well. The speed, bend, explosiveness, power, and ability to move in space have all become major talking points surrounding his development. And the production backs it up. Among players from the 2024 draft class, Hunt reportedly finished with the highest pressure rate at 16.9%, even ahead of several highly regarded defenders selected much earlier. That's not a small accomplishment. Pressure rate is one of the clearest indicators of disruptive defensive impact. Even when sacks don't always appear consistently, creating pressure changes games. Hunt not only generated pressure consistently, but did so at an elite rate. That's why there's growing belief inside the conversation around the Eagles that he could become a much bigger factor moving forward. And another important detail emerged recently. Vic Fangio reportedly spoke positively about Hunt ahead of organized team activities, emphasizing that the young defender is continuing to improve. That matters because Fangio is not known for casually overhyping players. When he speaks highly about somebody's development, people pay attention. The Eagles' defensive front already contains several notable names, but Hunt continues carving out a very important role for himself within that group. Philadelphia also appears committed to maintaining constant depth and rotation along the defensive line, allowing pass rushers to remain fresh and aggressive throughout games. That environment could be perfect for Hunt's continued growth. And honestly, when you look at his trajectory so far, it's easy to understand why many are now calling him one of the Eagles' true hidden gems. What makes the story even more impressive is where he was selected. Hunt came into the league as a third-round pick, yet he's already producing at a level that rivals some of the top defenders from his draft class. That brings us right back to another familiar theme surrounding this organization, Howie Roseman. Because once again, the Eagles appear to have identified value where others may have overlooked it. And now, recognition for Roseman himself continues growing across the NFL. Recent general manager rankings placed Howie Roseman at number 1 entering 2026. The reasoning behind that ranking centered around something extremely difficult to accomplish in professional football: sustained success across multiple eras. The discussion highlighted the fact that Roseman managed to help build championship-caliber teams with different head coaches, different quarterbacks, and completely different roster cores over time. That kind of adaptability is incredibly rare. Many executives succeed once and struggle afterward. But the ability to continuously evolve, reshape the roster, recover from mistakes, and keep the organization competitive year after year is what separates great executives from everyone else. And one of the biggest strengths constantly mentioned about Roseman is his willingness to adjust quickly. He does not appear interested in staying emotionally attached to previous decisions if a better path emerges later. That flexibility has become one of the defining characteristics of the Eagles' front office. The drafting approach has also evolved significantly over time. Philadelphia has consistently added high-level talent across multiple rounds while remaining aggressive in trades, free agency moves, and roster construction. And honestly, when you step back and look at the bigger picture, everything seems connected. The Eagles are aggressively building for the present while simultaneously positioning themselves for the financial future they believe is coming. They continue investing heavily in roster depth. They continue finding developmental talent. They continue trusting long-term league growth. And now, with new developments surrounding media rights, streaming expansion, international games, and future salary cap growth, the organization's strategy suddenly looks even more calculated than before. This is why so many people around the NFL continue watching Philadelphia closely. Because even during quieter moments of the offseason, it always feels like the Eagles are preparing for something bigger behind the scenes. And if the salary cap truly explodes the way many expect over the next few years, the rest of the league may eventually realize Philadelphia was preparing for this long before everybody else caught up. What do you think, Eagles fans? Do you believe the Eagles are ahead of the entire NFL when it comes to long-term roster building and salary cap strategy? And how big of a breakout season do you expect from Jix Hunt moving forward? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments.